This is ESPN Esports. I'm Arda Ocal. Happy to be joined by Yacine, who plays for Bonk, professional Valorant team, who were the runners-up in the Mandatory Cup this past weekend, making it all the way to the finals, facing G2 there. Very impressive performance. Let's start with the tournament, Yacine. The team looked great. You defeated Ninjas in Pajamas in the semifinal, and you looked like you were able to keep up with G2. The team was, particularly on their, I guess, what the casters called their home turf Ascent. Let's just break down the tournament as a whole. After your performance coming in second in this tournament, how do you and the team feel about this tournament?
I mean, obviously we feel good. Can I say that we just lost? Like this is like 10 minutes ago we actually played.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because I mean, right now I'm not feeling too good. I'll be honest with you. We were kind of like we said this is the tournament that's gonna break like our breakthrough, right? We really thought that this tournament would be our mark in the scene and that everybody would notice us, which a lot of people have. Thank God. But we really thought we had G2. NIP was the team that we were not necessarily afraid of. But we know the French guys, Kriya and Feroth, we know they're really good, especially Kriya. Sure, some might say he has fallen off, but I think it's just the fact that people start reading his Omen TPs, yada, yada, yada.
Mm-hmm.
But when we beat them, we actually thought that, okay, we're winning this one. And even after losing Haven, we picked Haven because we know that they like Haven, but on practices when we played against them on Haven, we've had some success, but they beat us to it, and I think just Haven, we were kind of stale. Do you say stale? Like we didn't necessarily do what we wanted to do, right? But after Haven coming into Ascent, we were confident. Like they were confident. Okay, I was not confident because I know during the tournament some might say Ascent is one of my stronger maps, but I'll be honest to say that in the team. I tell them all the time, Ascent is a coin flip for me, man. Because I really don't know what I'm doing, man.
Okay.
I'm kind of lost.
I find that hard to believe, given you put a 25 piece up against Ninjas in Pajamas in Game 3 that sent you to the finals. But I digress. Please tell us why it's a coin flip for you.
That's what people say, right? But I'll be honest with you. I've watched some VODs. I tried, preparing for Ascent, but I feel that I have no clue what I'm doing. And I felt that ever since Ascent came into the picture, honestly, like we've had some deep conversations about how we think Ascent should be played, how viable is mid, should you go and use mid, should you ignore mid, is A easier than B, should I like, there's so many questions I still have, which is, it kind of goes to looking into, like, I want myself in an environment like, I don't know if it's true, but like League of Legends, where they have like a whole team management helping them out. Because I'm putting my 12 hours into the game, and I know all my teammates are doing the same. But I feel that I only know 7% of how the game should actually be played, right? And I don't know. Now I'm kind of, I don't know. I don't even think I answered your question, but
well, let me ask this. As I'm listening to you, I actually want to ask an Ascent-related question. So, particularly against G2, G2 feels very comfortable on Ascent. They're very powerful on Ascent. Of course, they have some great operators. Artist is a great example, right?
Yeah.
So I'm wondering, like, a lot of people might use, maybe this is antiquated by this point, but a lot of people might use a Sageless comp on Ascent. We've seen that in NA. A lot of people might use double smokes, for example. What was your philosophy and your team's philosophy going into, because you were successful on Ascent against Ninjas in Pajamas, not so much against G2. What were the philosophies there?
I'll be honest and say it out loud, because I think, come tomorrow, we're gonna, I hope so, redo the whole Ascent process. Because if you looked at the Ascent game against NIP, I don't think we went mid once, man. Like, sure, some people might have, been there and walked around there, but we never actually tried contesting the pizza area, even the CT spawn area. Our game plan was, me and Bonker, we go A. we try getting people to A, and then the B guys do your and hopefully we can activate A again. We just played the side, man. And G2, as you probably saw, they contested mid. And we even saw me going to B lobby, trying to take mid with the guys, I think it worked twice or three times, but it was just improvisation, man. I'll be honest, improv all the way. We don't have a plan for mid. So I think that's the biggest difference between NIP game and the G2 game. But honestly, we got, I think we got 5 or 6 rounds on the attacking side, which we got against NIP. So saying this, we should have won the CT side, yeah. But then it goes back to I'm kind of playing A, and I'm used to being the flexible guy, depending on my mood and depending on my emotional state, I go A or B, But honestly, like depending on the read I have, I do something different. But on Ascent, I'm more of a set guy on A, and as you can see, like I push A lobby a lot, and when that's not working, that's when I'm self-critic. That's when I dip, or that's when I go ghost mode. And I think that the way they played, they contested A lobby in a good way, and I had a role in asking for a little bit too much help from Bonker playing the rotation role, which led to mid being quite open, and that's when they kind of took some advantage of us. So I'm not necessarily saying I'm the reason we lost Ascent, but I do know I played a part in that. Nonetheless, sure, I don't even remember my stats, but I don't think we should focus too much on the statistics. Even though I get my kills, I get them because I am. Can I say it? Because without sounding arrogant, I'm good at the game.
I'll say it. Okay.
Yeah, thank you. I get the kill, sure, but if you look at it from a team overview, I wouldn't really say I played good. No.
You were the top you were number 1 in the final in average combat score, 248, more than any other player, including on G2. I just want to point that out there, just in case anybody watching this was curious. And you also led everybody in first bloods as well. Safe was second with 10. So you had 13 first bloods in the entire series against G2. Let me ask you this question: do you think that you have done enough in this tournament to solidify Bonk as the number 2 team in Europe?
Oh, for sure. Or I answered that quickly though, didn't I? Okay, wait. Let me actually think about it. Like, I'll be honest and say, I don't think Riot should do invite-only tournaments. I'll say it because there are so many people. Did you say something?
No, I said interesting.
Interesting.
Please continue.
Because there are so many people, in both individuals and teams, that are so good at the game, and might not get, like, for example, we met a couple of guys in the, I think, round 64, and they had us. They had a like 8-4 lead on Split, our best map, and it wasn't that we lost the duels. We got outplayed, and they were a really good team. But they didn't get to show themselves because it's a BO1, and we finally beat them. But I feel that there's so much potential out there. Sure, G2, they're a great team. Like, honestly, like, we just look at the facts. They won every tournament they've played so far. But I still believe that there are so many teams out there that has the opportunity to actually beat them. But when you keep the circle like tight, like in CS:GO, for example, when you focus so much on the invite-only tournaments, you're not really allowing people like us, like Bonk. We don't have an organizations where we don't get paid. We play on the free time, like so many people. And I truly believe that there's so many teams out there that are good enough to beat G2, beat us, to win tournaments, and I want to see them compete as well. And sure, I'm glad this tournament was a kind of free for all tournament. I think that every team that actually wants to become something played. But when I say it, at the same time, I think that there's a lot of people that don't even know they could sign up for this, that I think are good. Look at the Fortnite players, man. They are really good at the game. I'm gonna give it to them, because whenever I play a Fortnite player, I ask them, what resolution are you playing on? Because it's not 1920, I'll tell you that. The way you kill me, I can't compete with that. So that's why I think that we shouldn't have too many invitational only tournaments. I think we should allow the scene to actually grow in a how do you say that word? In a not
grassroots kind of way.
Yeah, exactly. In a grassroots kind of way, that everybody has an equal chance to actually become something.
do you think that now that Bonk has had such an impressive tournament performance in a major tournament in this kind of showing, do you think that more conversations will happen? Do you think that maybe we've turned a corner and more top orgs in EU
Yeah,
will say, hey, look, maybe we should be speaking with these guys?
yeah. I mean, I really hope so. Obviously, we're self-independent and we're grinding hard, and I hope that this tournament was proof of our potential. Sure, there's been some organizations that actually, try to poach us and yada yada, but we've said no for multiple reasons. But we truly believe that if we keep this up, and if we I really hope we win the next tournament, man. I really do. I really hope we go back to the drawing board and come up with some new ideas of how the game should be played, and really shine in the next tournament. Because if I'll be honest with you. If I was an organization, and we peaked, like Bonk piqued my interest, I would take a close look at them in the next tournament to see if was this a one hit show, or are they actually really good. So I think there's gonna be some pressure next tournament. But I do believe in my guys, and I know that some people in my team are you know sad because they didn't get to show their true potential. I myself feel that way. There was a lot of stressful calls, and there's obviously there's a big difference between playing in a practice or scrim, or whatever you want to call it, and then playing in a final. But I know that a lot of people still has a lot to show, and I think that next tournament, we're we're gonna take this as experience, and hopefully we're gonna shine in the next tournament.
I want to go back to something you said earlier that I found very interesting. You said, we were a little bit more concerned about ninjas in pajamas than G2 going into this tournament.
Hmm.
I'm wondering because the perception that many people might have about EU is that there's a big gap between G2 and the rest of the field, at least in
Mm.
terms of results. They're still very dominant. After this tournament and after having played them and seeing what you saw from this tournament, how wide or narrow would you say that gap is now between G2 and the rest of EU?
No, honestly, like I think that G2 plays very. I'm not saying bad, but I'm saying simple. They're playing simple. They if you hear a drone, there's at least three guys behind that drone. And I think they thrive in the close combat situations, and the adaptations they make, and I just feel that they have a bigger view of the game, whereas many teams have one default, including us, and we are very strict with what we're supposed to do. And if anyone dares to try to fumble us, we sometimes choke, which was what happened now. A lot of the rounds we improvised, and I think we need to work on improvising, because what I tell the guys all the time, this is just I have to this is my view of the game, right? It might be wrong, I don't know. It's just how I see things. But in my personally, I feel that you can't really prepare too much on how you should start. Like, you can't say this is the perfect strat, because you really don't know what's waiting on the other side. I mean, look at the bind game, for example. I'm not used to playing a
Hmm.
sage in hookah. I'm not used to that. I'm used to throwing my boombot out, killing a guy, having hookah control, waiting for my guys to be long, and then we take the side. It's easy as that, honestly. But now what happened was, I was up against a sage, and she threw a slow orb, and I still threw my boombot, even though I know I can't I can't take the control, because I have to wait the slow orb out. And I think those small things make a huge difference, coming into the whole, like, how Valorant should be played. And I feel that what G2 does is, they say we're gonna contest this area, and they contest it with everything they got. Where many teams say, all right, we're gonna try to contest this area, and if they answer us back, we're just gonna fall back, which is basically playing into their own playbook, because they know, okay, they're not here anymore. Stack A. And I feel that we kind of did that a lot, and I feel that a lot of teams do that. But I do want to say that I think G2 being such a big org, and the players have such big names, I think that, like, I feel that some people might be nervous playing against G2, where we kind of see, like, Pith is a close friend of mine, and I don't feel the same, like nerves as I can imagine other feel. But hey, what do I know? Maybe I'm wrong. But I think that has a lot to play with why G2 are so dominant right now. They play simple, and they are willing to adapt, I
No,
think.
I really like that analysis and how you broke it down. So this is going to be my last question to you.
Hmm.
Uh, so one of the things that Carlos, who's the head of G2, said is that his team could beat anyone in NA any day. He's very confident that not only EU as a region, but G2, best team in the world, can beat everyone in NA, TSM, T1, you name it, can beat him. Obviously, there's a little bit of hyperbole there and hyping up his own team, but the
Hmm.
discussion of NA versus EU has
Yeah.
begun, even though we can't get any lands for a while, obviously. I want to get your thoughts on that. I want to get your thoughts on what you see from the NA teams, any style differences that you noticed. What are
I'm.
the big differences, would you say?
I mean, it feels like NA are more strategically good, I think. Uh, but I mean, when I look at NA, I don't really look at TSM or FaZe, or I look at what I've watched. I don't look at T1 either. I'll be honest and say that. I look at Sentinels. I'm looking at the ranking list right now to actually remember what team I enjoy watching. I think Cloud9 and Sentinels are really good, and I think it's the strategic part they kind of have. I think they have a better understanding of how the game should be played. I think, but at the same time, they don't play Raze, and they don't play Raze. I think because people said it's a pug hero or pug like ranked agent, and I think Raze is one of the most efficient agents in the game.
Why is that?
But I don't know. I think individually we are better. Europe is better. I think. But
Can you tell me why
strategic.
Raze? Can you tell me why Raze, in your opinion, is one of the best agents in the game?
Honestly, she just does load of damage, man. No, but she thrives in the close combat situations. For me personally, like now they're gonna nerf the satchel again, which I'm quite sad they're gonna do. Because what I used to say is you can't rush me down because my satchels are broken, which they are, which is probably why they gonna nerf them. But I feel that the reason Raze is so good is because she can stop pushes and her boombot, man. Like her boombot is by far one of the best abilities in the game. Uh, Mostly because on pistol rounds it can one shot the whole team, and it's a tank on pistol rounds. Like it takes a couple of ghost shots before it dies, and then it it allows you to take uh, risky peaks because you throw your boombot. If it reacts, then you have the advantage of knowing where they are. The peeker's advantage, and they don't know when you're gonna come, right? So I just feel that the damage, obviously, and the boombot makes Raze really, really viable. And obviously, the satchels, you can see on Reddit the satchel plays people make. They're insane. Something I need to work on myself. But I've taken it up on next week. Hopefully, I'm gonna have time to work on my satchel plays, and maybe we'll see something in the next tournament. But I feel that Raze has a good kit. I really do. But at the same time, it's gonna be nice to see new agents, and I can't stress it enough that this is not CS:GO, and I'm really looking forward to seeing 100 agents and a banning phase. I don't know if that's the way Riot's gonna go, but I would be really happy to see more agents, and because it allows the meta to change. It allows people to actually play something that they and only they are really good at. And I just think it adds more, a higher skill ceiling. Some may say it does not, but I feel it does.
Mhm.
Uh, but yeah, I don't know if I answered.
How
I
many?
don't know
So
if I
six.
answered any of your
I just
questions.
wanted to ask. I just wanted to ask that because you had mentioned that, and I thought that was like a
Yeah.
golden nugget there. So 6 agents a year is what Riot has said
Hmm.
that they will add to the game. So when would you like to see a pick and ban phase for agents? Like how many agents is
Ooh.
enough for you to say, you know what, pick and ban needs to start now?
I mean, obviously it's too early now. I think they even tried it out in one tournament where they insta banned Cypher, and all the Cypher mains were really sad. But I feel
100% pick rate in most tournaments. So
Yeah, I mean, and Cypher, like the reason Cypher is so good is he denies flank, and that's a huge part of a game like this. But I hope to see, like, for example, Omen can TP wires, right? He even made a play where I kind of killed Bonker because it's my bad in the tournament. Omen TP the wire. I didn't give the info enough because I thought I was in my zone and no one was near me, and then I was like, wait, Bonker, you're gonna die, and then he dies, so it's my bad. But but I hope they add agents that kind of counter each other, right? The way my satchels counter Sage Wall, and the way Omen can TP wires or Jet can jump over them. I rather see them like balancing the game out that way than seeing them nerf and buff different characters and just keeping it in a small chance. But banning phase, I feel that could be added 25 agents, 20 agents.
Yeah.
It's just a number I threw out, man. I don't
Sure.
know. Honestly, I don't know. It's not my area to
Yeah,
to
that's
speak
fine.
of.
I just wanted your opinion, really. Okay, let's
Yeah.
finish the thought on NA versus EU, and then we'll wrap this interview. This has been very, very enlightening, by the way. We got to
Nice,
have you
it's
back
been
at
fun.
some point, but yeah. So NA versus EU, you say that NA is a little bit more strategic. Sentinels and C9 are very exciting teams that you like to watch. Yeah, what do you think about the matchup? Let's say there's a LAN in the future. NA teams, EU teams come together. How would that shake down?
Oh, I think it's gonna be like let's be real here. Do not sleep on the Japanese, man. Okay, I
Okay.
watched
Okay.
a Japanese tournament. I have to say it, and sure they are not like mechanically great, but the way they played mid on split, I don't know. They had some insane combos with the ability usage and the way Sage slow orbed and then Breach stunned and then an Omen flash came in and boom he TP'd somewhere. It was sick to watch. So I mean, I'm more looking forward to seeing like the whole world, and I think Brazilians are mechanically really good, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what they can bring to the scene. But if we're gonna keep it Europe and NA, I think that it's gonna be a tough one, and I think it depends on the maps. Honestly, I think that G2, I think that they would win Haven, for example, but I still think that Sentinels would win bind or split, uh but I don't know, it's a tough one. It's And honestly I think it has a lot to do with like how good are the individuals in G2 that day, are they having an off day or whatever. But I think that when the worlds finally come, I think we'll have our answer, and I think it's going to be a hell of a show and a hell of a tournament, and hopefully I can be a part of it with Bonk, and hopefully we can make a mark in Valorant history.
Yeah, well, either with Bonk or a major organization, you have to think that at least conversations will resume for you and your five stack as you
Yeah,
move forward. A great result in the mandatory cup this past weekend with Bonk runner up to G2 in the grand final. Continued success, Yacine, a player for Bonk. Really appreciate your time, man. This was a lot of fun.
yeah. Thank you, really. It was really fun.